Hello everybody. By now it should be common knowledge to most of you that you shouldn't reuse needles when injecting testosterone, right? This is usually mainly because the needle's blunt every time you use them, right? So for example, if you're drawing testosterone out of a vial, as the needle goes through the seal and into the vial and out again, it blunts, right? That's when you're drawing testosterone. Now, let's say you have a situation where you actually want to inject the testosterone and you inject into your skin, but for some reason you decide to abandon that injection and you pull out again, right? Well, in that case, you don't want to reuse the needle either, not just because it blunts, but for other reasons like contaminants on the needle and that too. So today, I want to show you some photos and give you some examples of what needles look like after they've been used, just so you can see why you shouldn't be reusing them, right? So let's have a look at them quickly. Now, I'm going to put them up on the screen, but the first two examples I'm going to show you, just be aware that I did find these on the internet. So I haven't been able to authenticate the validity of these photos for two of them. But yeah, so just take everything with a grain of salt. But here in the first example, you see they show a needle, a needle used once, a needle used twice, and a needle used 6 times, which looks pretty horrific, right? So you can see that after each use, it's blunting a little bit. Now, if we look at the second picture, it shows before use, after 1 use, and after 6 uses. You get a close-up again of what these needles look like after they've been used. Now, I wanted to make sure that this is really what's happening. So I found another example, which is from a needle manufacturer called BD. And this is actually the needle that I use when I normally buy them from Amazon. They're quite a popular brand. And in this photo from BD, you can see their sort of demonstration about what a needle looks like after the first use. And let me just get that up quickly. So you can see it's magnified 370 times. This is after it's been used once. And the same used needle magnified 2,000 times. So you can see what the tip looks like, right? And that should sort of encourage you not to be reusing needles. Now, there were some conspiracy theorists on the internet saying, oh yes, this is a needle manufacturer. Obviously, they're going to want you to buy more needles and spend more money. Now, I might be inclined to believe that if needles were expensive, but they're not, right? They're a couple of cents. You buy them in boxes by the 100. They're really cheap. And no one who was making these conspiratorial claims had any proof to show otherwise. So I'm inclined to go with the evidence that I've got here in front of me, for now at least. If I see anything to the contrary, then I'll change my opinion on it. But I think we all know, I think those of us that have real world experience injecting with needles, you know that if you reuse a needle, it's usually blunter and it hurts a hell of a lot more when it goes in the second or the third time, right? Now, there are a couple of risks. For those of you that aren't aware why you shouldn't reuse needles, I just want to highlight some of the risks of reusing needles. And the first one is that you're at risk of a weak tip breaking off, the tip of the needle breaking off in your skin. You're at risk of pain or extra pain, bleeding and bruising if you reuse needles. You're at increased risk of fatty scar tissue on the injection site. And sometimes also your risk at infection, especially if you're trying to reuse a needle after it's been in and out of your skin already. So I just wanted to put those pictures out there to help you guys, encourage you not to reuse needles. They're cheap. There's really no need to do it. Obviously, at the end of the day, can you reuse needles? Sure, you can. The choice is ultimately up to you, but doctors recommend that you don't. I recommend that you don't because they are so cheap. But ultimately, the decision's up to yours. Or up to you rather. So make sure you do the right thing and you keep safe. And that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next video.